Hey Tires, Darren here with another fly pattern. Today we're going to be tying a chironomid pattern called the ice cream cone. This was developed by a British Columbia guide named Kelly Davidson back in 1992. So rather than fussing around with a lot of different materials to form the gills of the chironomid, we're just going to use a white bead to represent that. We can tie this in a number of colors, being olive, black, red, chartreuse, white, or colorette. And you can tie it in a few different ways. We're going to go through two different methods here today, and I'll discuss some of the other ways we can enhance this fly. All right, let's get started. Okay, we're going to start off this pattern by putting a hook in the vise. I've already put a white bead on this one. This is a number 10 hook and a 1/8 inch bead. And the thread I'm using a flat waxed nylon. This is an olive color and it's a 210 denier thread. We'll just start by wrapping. Starting with a jam knot here. Just do a couple wraps and we'll snip off that tag end. We're going to need a piece of fine copper wire. That's our first material. And I'll either slide that in under the bead or else I tie it slightly on over top of the bead, and you can fold the excess over. That'll really make sure that it's anchored well. And we'll just wrap all the way down, almost to touching your vise here. Then we're going to wrap back up to the bead. So as you're wrapping, your thread gets a little bit of a twist, especially on this flatter thread. So I just like to unwind it a little bit with a counterclockwise spin, and then we just wrap back down to the bend, but we don't go quite all the way, and then we wrap back up behind the bead. And we're just going to continue this, and we're going to create a little bit of a taper as we go along, and we just want to build this a little bit thicker towards the front of the hook. These were originally tied on a straight hook, not these curved shank hooks, but I much prefer these curved shanks. This is a Mustad C49S. Alright, so we've got a bit of a taper here. You can even that out a little bit more in here if you'd like. Maybe I'll do that just for fun here. That's about the nice taper that I like in this pattern. So next we're going to take our copper wire. We're just going to wrap this for segmentation on the fly. And then we're going to tie it off right behind the bead. Make sure that you go on both sides of the wire so that it gets locked in. I like to take one wrap on the outside, one on the inside. You can snug that down a little bit. And then we're just going to helicopter off our wire here. You can cut that off if you like, but it tends to dull your scissors. So if you are going to cut it off with scissors, make sure you use the back of your scissors for that. And we're just going to add a whip finish or two. And it's okay if this snugs up into the bead here. That was part of the original pattern. There you go. That's basically the fly. You can tie quite a few of these in a short amount of time. And we just want to make sure we give it a nice coat of cement. You can also use a UV resin if you prefer. So that's the version 1. That's our thread version. Okay, we're going to start our second version of this ice cream cone. Chironomid. Just put our same hook. This is a Mustad C49S. Number 10 with a 1/8 size bead. I think it's about a 3.2 millimeter bead. Okay, and I'm using a black 6/0 thread for this pattern. We're going to tie this in a black color. So again, we're going to start off with some fine copper wire. I'm going to tie this in the same way, right at the head. And I'm going to wind my thread just a little bit. I don't need to take it all the way back yet. Next, I'm going to use Super Floss. This is, I'm not really sure what type of material it is, but it's got a lot of stretch, like a Lycra or something to that effect. So I like to take 2 pieces. And if you're tying smaller flies, 1 piece is probably enough. We'll just tie that in towards the front of the eye, make sure everything gets tied down well. And then I'm going to stretch this out. So the more you stretch it, the thinner it becomes. So one of the ways to taper this fly is with the tension that you put on it. So if you want a thicker section, you just lay off the tension. If you want it to be skinnier, you put more tension on it. Okay, so we've wrapped our thread down to the end of our fly here, and then wrapped it back to just behind the bead. Okay, so when we start this, we're going to want to keep quite a bit of tension and just wrap it, making sure you got both strands tightly together. And as I go up, I'm going to lay back a little bit on the tension with each wrap, and that'll help create our taper. You can see that fly getting a little bit thicker. And then when you get near the top, you should just have very little tension on there. I usually put an extra wrap. So this material gives the fly sort of a rubberized look to it. So make sure you tie that off really well. You want to go on both sides, front and back. The only problem, I don't like this material over the thread, is because if it does slip out, your fly unravels rather quickly because it's under quite a bit of tension. We'll just snip off those tag ends. You can add a whip finish here just for some extra durability. And next we're going to wrap our copper wire up, give some segmentation to this fly. And we'll tie this off the same, making sure that you go on the front and the back side of that wire so that it's really locked in well. We'll helicopter the wire off, or you can cut it. And we're going to add a couple whip finishes. Again, we're going to take that up into the bead. And I finished this fly off as well with a coat of head cement. I have my brush upside down so that I'm not putting too much glue on at once. So you may want to do 2 coats on these just to help give it some extra shine. That helps represent the gas bubbles that the natural chironomids might have. If you like this video and you enjoy tying flies, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe to my videos. That way you'll get notified when new fly tying videos get posted. Got a suggestion for a fly you'd like to see on this space? Post it in the comments below and we'll do our best to try and get it in a future video. Until next time, keep a hook in your vise.